So, Samantha, thank you very much for being on the Filmmakers podcast.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
And I love the accent. And obviously, you're from Birmingham, obviously.
Birmingham. I've now originated to Warsaw, so you're probably going to hear a bit of my Black Country accent.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. So, thank you very much for submitting the films. How did you hear about our festival?
So I went on Film Freeway. I looked up anything experimental film, and then I saw the Isolation Film Festival, and from there I thought it'd be a great idea because my films were based on isolation. It was based on the coronavirus. It was based on Dirty Matter Out of Place. Mm-hmm. So from there I thought this would perfectly fit and match with the isolation, stuck at home feeling.
Yeah, I especially. Oh my god, I'm really terrible. What's the name of the shorter film?
Through the Looking Lens.
Yeah, that out of the two, that's my favorite, because it's all like I look. It's almost like observation of in a really almost like from a fly's perspective, and you know that's the thing you put in your description about your films is it's open to interpretation. Yeah. It's almost like this is really going off on one, but say an alien race is tuning in to find how to basically they're looking at the world and they're trying to tune in and see different aspects of it, and they've somehow tuned into a perspective of a fly or something like that in this house where there's lights going on and the typewriter. So they don't get a true representation of what they're seeing. They just get images, almost like a dream. That's how I looked at it.
Most of that was filmed through a fisheye lens.
Yeah, so love that. Yeah,
experiment with any resources I had possible in my house, and through the simple of a camera and a fisheye lens, I managed to achieve something that was quite unusual.
Yeah,
and something that represents another kind of experience for somebody else. And I like to show something that's more provoking and thought-provoking for an audience to interpret, really. And that's why I said your own interpretation.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing about the longer film that you submitted, they're both official selections, by the way. It's just that we've because it's just myself doing all of the admin. It's difficult. I think you may have had an email saying they've been officially selected.
Yeah, I did get that email.
But we put little clips on our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter with your name and a couple of clips from the films. But I love the rhythm of the second film. What was the sound? Yeah.
Is that yeah. So the sound. Okay. Going into that, I recorded most of that through Foley. It was mainly recorded from home, and then I got a camera shutter click.
Yeah.
Kind of a camera shutter. Recorded some of that, and I also got some off sound epidemic sounds and websites where you can access free sounds.
Yeah, it's like Audio Jungle, isn't it? Yeah.
Foley and websites. And then I just thought it'd be a nice idea to kind of just experiment with both of them and mix them up, really, to get an idea of what I wanted to interpret, which was isolation. I actually had other ideas. I had, should I record what you hear ambient sounds in my house? So that'd be like the dog barking, someone lawn mowing the house. And I thought, no, I'm giving it away. The whole idea was show, don't tell. And that was kind of where I got my idea from, really. Camera shutter.
Clicking. Yeah, I love that. Did you Foley mix and record that to the images, or did you do the other way around?
I recorded from my phone. I did a bit of both.
Did you start to find a rhythm to your editing?
Yes, I definitely did. I used it repetitively. So I've kind of just copied and pasted it throughout the whole of the video, and it repetitively went on.
I love that. Yeah. Gave it a real pacing to it as well. I like that a lot, yeah.
I like the visual rhythm and the movement, because we are implying that the same in the video. So I wanted to imply that was a viewfinder.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use a camera shutter lens, I'm going to use the clicking. So I kind of wanted to imply both. And again, it is representing that other kind of experience, and you know, you cannot look into reality. It's the reality in question, really.
Absolutely, yeah. That just blew my mind a little bit. I've just had an exhausting day, but
Yeah.
that was awesome. But yeah, I really enjoyed them, and we've had since I pressed the tick box to allow experimental films. I think we did last year. I can't quite remember because
I really,
we're in our
sorry.
second year now. That's okay. And we've had experimental films from Iceland, India, South America. We've had them from all over. So it's really
Amazing.
amazing to see these pieces of art because it's like the chap from I think it was Calcutta. He was saying that he was explaining you don't necessarily need to see it in a gallery because like if you go and see like Andy Warhol's
Mm.
experimental films in the Liverpool Tate Modern, like I went a few years ago.
I've
you
been
know,
there.
Yeah,
Been
it's awesome, and you see all the tins of beans and all of that, whatever you call it, and yeah, but it's experimental films can be viewed in any way really, and so it's we're
It is
re-
that question, isn't it?
yeah, exactly, yeah,
Show, don't tell. Don't be saying something kind of like using words. It's more about kind of showing it visually, and then you
absolutely,
music to rhythm, to use that
yeah,
rhythm with the sounds and with
yeah,
what's being
absolutely.
shown.
So was are you do you kind of exclusively make these kind of shorts, or do you make kind of narrative as well?
So where it really came from, I'm going to start with the Dirty Matter Out of Place video. So to begin with, really, I used just a viewfinder and my own camera.
Yeah,
And from there, I recorded resources from my home because we had limited amount of resources. I had no DSLR, I had no lights. I all had to just resource this from Amazon, or I had to use stuff from my house. And I wanted to, to depict and manipulate the idea of what dirt is, and
mm,
using bubbles, using soap, using ice cubes, using anything I had from my house, and kind of just making it more of an unusual um, sort of abstract imagery piece for an audience to, let's just say, challenge and provoke ideas of their own,
yeah.
thoughts, really.
It's
Um,
amazing how something could be seen so differently, from the next person, but
yeah,
how
definitely.
you see it, how I see it. I saw a piece of Jackson Pollock, one of his summer pieces with all the lines. That's the best way I describe it. I saw that at Tate Modern as well in Liverpool, and I had this like reaction to it. I thought it was like, wow, I've seen something special, but I couldn't explain it. It's the first time it ever happened for a piece of art. With cinema, with story, which I love, it's easier to kind of see why you had that reaction because it's all kind of laid out in front of you. So when you see an experimental film or a piece of art that's has no narrative structure to a certain degree, it's amazing to see the kind of how you feel about it and how the next person feels completely differently. And that's why I really enjoy experimental films. And we're making an experimental film award as well. Um,
Oh, yeah.
and I was thinking about this earlier, is that last year we had like best cinematography, and we had some fantastic judges. We got great judges this year as well. But you can't have a best experimental film. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It doesn't make sense. The actual word best and experimental doesn't work for me. So we're
No,
just gonna
no, I
have,
definitely see where you're coming from there.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like how can I judge that? And yeah, it's really tricky one. And so basically, it's going to be an experimental award. It's going to have a unique name.
Mm.
Someone's at the door. Just bear with me one sec. So sorry. So sorry.
Can you tell me which Amazon place you go to? Because I want that dog.
Sorry about that. That's Frida.
Oh, Frida. Is
So
that the
she
name?
was she was the reason for the doorbell,
Oh, see.
because the next door neighbor saw that she'd somehow gotten out of her like sling, whatever.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, it's after Frida Kahlo, the artist.
Oh, that's amazing. Do you know what? I named my dog Trigger out of Only Fools and All.
That's awesome. That's a
Yeah,
proper name, really, isn't it? It's great.
definitely.
I
And
love.
also,
I do so many impressions. I do at least once a week. I do an impression of Boise, actually.
oh, don't you? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. You're going to try it now?
My
Are you going to do it now?
my favorite scene is with the Driscoll brothers. Do you remember the Driscoll brothers, the tall and the
I
short
am
one?
going back to it. I'm trying to think of that scene now.
I'll send you after this. I'll
Yeah,
send you a
definitely.
clip. Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
whole thing with Boise that says.
I just love the scene when he falls through the bar.
Yeah, it's genius. It's comedy gold. It's actually gold. And now
That's what it's on gold.
yeah,
It's on
sorry
gold.
about that. Bit of yeah, exactly. Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
bit of a tangent going to the door. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
But somehow I tied her on the door. She'd closed the side back door,
Yeah.
and because she pulled so hard, she came out the harness. So I don't know. So thankfully, I had the back gate locked.
That's
So,
a strong dog.
yeah, she's great. She's got a lot of energy. She's got a bit of Jack Russell, pug, and her dad's a Boston Terrier. So
A triple breed.
yeah, triple threat. Yeah,
Never heard of a triple breed.
yeah, exactly. Well, her mum. That was her then. Her mum's half pug, half Jack Russell. And her dad's a full breed, like a purebred Boston Terrier. Hence the ears for the Boston Terrier. Yeah.
I love Jack Russells.
Yeah. Oh, they're crazy, but great. Anyway, sorry about that.
That's okay.
But yeah, we wanted to make an experimental award because we had just a really good selection, quite a lot. We've had a few animations, and based on how many we get, and it's not a quality control thing, but based on how many we get, I choose whether to have an award for that particular thing. So we'll probably have a best cinematography award, for kind of more narrative, that kind of thing. And there's going to be an experimental award, and that's really tricky to pick.
I'm going to say, I'm looking forward to seeing the selections. I am.
Yeah, so on Saturday, 26th of June, that's when we're showcasing all the films. Yeah. And there's some.
Will it be like a live show or?
The first show on the Saturday, it won't be, because there's quite a lot of films. I think there's going to be around. We've had a lot we had to turn away because they didn't fit the criteria, and I know if they'd have been experimental, we'd have allowed vertical videos, but because of the format of YouTube being 16:9, we kind of, that's something I debated for a while, especially with the experimental films we were getting. So we had to turn quite a few away, so we should have around 50 films, something like that, in terms of official selection.
All together now.
What's that?
All together now, or is
there's absolutely more. I know one chap that's doing. He's doing where's my finger? He's doing a Hellraiser fan-inspired film, and he's a really good horror filmmaker. So there's good. I'll have to put disclaimers on, for stroming. Yeah,
that's going to be amazing. See, I am a horror film fan. I just wouldn't watch it.
Yeah, especially Hellraiser. Yeah, that's a brutal one.
Oh yeah, blood and gore, is it?
Yeah. Yeah, basically it's about a mixture between fantasy. Oh God, I don't know how to describe it without ruining it. Yeah, just watch it with someone. It's body horror. No, exactly. Watch it during the day. That's the trick. So how did you? What?
Sorry,
just out of curiosity, it was Northampton University, is that right?
Yeah, I studied under degree of University of Northampton, but it came under Solihull College and University Centre.
Okay.
That's where I studied, but my degree came under Northampton because they came in partnership with each other.
It sounds great anyway, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, brilliant. It was absolutely amazing. So hopefully we can get our graduation either be in Northampton.
Oh my God. I film a lot of graduations, do live streaming, for all the camera work, that kind of thing. I do a lot of that. And the university I do that kind of thing for here, which is 2 minutes away in Chester, we're going to have a mega couple of weeks when graduations can actually happen in terms of people turning up. It's going to be chock-a-block. It's gonna be
Oh,
like it's
it's
gonna
gonna
be
be.
like trying to leave a gig when the car park's full. You know what I mean? It's gonna be like that.
I definitely see that. That's literally going to be like. There's going to be one every weekend, surely, because
We'd have 3 a day, 2 weeks, 3 a day easily. Yeah.
that is shocking. And
So,
obviously,
how did you find your course? Just out of curiosity.
how did I find my course? Really, I think throughout the whole of my years, I'm going to say probably my third year was going to be my favourite, because I got to do experimental film. I got to do experimental film my second year. That was part of my unit, and then from my third year, I chose to do it as my final major project. And I'm happy I chose it now, because obviously we got stuck in lockdown, and also
Yeah.
the theme behind it perfectly fit in with the coronavirus, and the ways that both kind of like perfectly aligned each other. I was like, Dirty Matter out of place, coronavirus, and depict it how you want, really. But it was more kind of how the third year kind of like was my personal expression in my work, and the way I wanted to express how I felt during the coronavirus. And I think
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great film's a great way to express how you feel emotionally, psychologically.
to do a
So,
documentary, which was really interesting throughout my year as well.
oh
And that was
right,
one of
okay,
and my first year I got to do a project called Running the World 196, and that was where I was a video editor, where an athlete was running the world, 196 countries, to do kind of like raise awareness and raise money for prostate cancer.
okay,
And getting involved in that was absolutely amazing. So
yeah,
I would say my whole university experience was brilliant.
yeah,
Like,
and I can see why a lot of documentary filmmakers and editors they kind of expand into making a lot of experimental because it's more of
especially
a
videos as well.
yeah. That sounds great. Is that available online to see anywhere?
Yeah, I can send you the link.
Yeah, please do.
If
Yeah.
you want. This was, bearing in mind, this was like 2017, 2018 when
Okay.
I first year at university. I don't know, it's gone so quick.
I do that all the time. I worked on a feature film in London during my end of my second year. Had nothing to do with the course I was on.
Yeah.
But that's how I remember when I was at uni.
Yeah.
I was like, right, okay, when did I work on that Pierce Brosnan film? Right, okay, it's 2007. Yeah, I went to uni this year. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's
So,
amazing.
but yeah, I got asked to stay an extra 6 months on the post production, but wasn't getting paid anything, and
Okay.
I was in London not getting paid. You can imagine what that's like. So it's
Which one was that? Pierce Brosnan's film?
oh, it's a small film. It sounds amazing because you got Maria Bello and you've got Gerald Butler. It's a super small. It never really got a big release here. It's called Butterfly on a Wheel. In the US, it's called Shattered. It was a really small film, but I met some amazing people. The director of that film directs all of Handmaid's Tale. So he does that now, yeah. But it's really interesting, you've got to take these opportunities. I missed out on working on a Band of Brothers years ago. Someone offered me, the Tom Hanks Spielberg.
Yeah, like the actual experience was it outside of university that you?
Well, Katie, I can't remember Katie's surname. Sorry, Katie. Her cousin was a post production supervisor, so they managed sending footage around the post production for this film, and she was working on it for a few weeks. And she said, "Oh, they're looking for someone to go down to London over the summer period and to work on the post production, like a dog's body kind of thing."
Yeah.
But then it expanded. I delayed going back to my course. I spoke to my tutor saying I'm working on a feature. Please give me the flexibility to work on it. And they were gonna have 2 more people to work on the post production for another 6 months, I think it was, maybe a little bit less than that.
Yeah.
They actually said, we don't want those 2 people. We want you to stay. I'm like, oh my god, I'd love to, but I can't. I wasn't getting paid in London. You know what I mean? And I was staying with friends.
Plus, being a student, the
Being
money.
a student and in London with zero money would have been insane. But yeah, it's you can't live with regret, because living with regret is really unhealthy.
Definitely.
You know,
It
so
doesn't move forward, does it?
no, exactly, yeah.
You can't move forward. Like
have you got anything chalked on that clapperboard?
No, it does say Universal Studios. I wish I went to Universal.
That's cool.
Studios. Yeah, I got that. Where did I get it from? It was an online store. I wish I could say I went to Universal Studios.
This one was a friend of mine just sent it to me. He said, I don't need it anymore. I just use it as my quote unquote YouTube background. So this is a proper color chart that I use to expose, you know, all the colors and everything. And
Yes.
the drones in there, and the rest of it's like standard stuff, really. But yeah,
what's underneath it? It's got like the different colors. Looks like a color palette.
Oh, this here.
Yeah. Yes.
So if you it's called an X-Rite card. If you let me show you this now. Let me find the right button. You see how that's grey?
Yes.
That's shot in log. It's like a flat profile, and I've got a color LUT over the top. So that's Blackmagic's new color science, and it's a grade I like for the room. It's not the blacks aren't super black, that kind of thing. And this helps basically. If you hold it in front of your camera, you'll get perfect exposure. The colors will be perfect every time if you shoot the flat profile. And the reason for the flat profile is so your darkest darks and your lightest lights, you've got as much dynamic range as possible. So that helps with that.
Wow, that's amazing.
And that bulb there is this bulb above me. So this light here is from an aperture bulb. So you can, it's like one of those Philips bulbs. You can change the color on and all of that.
It looks really aesthetically pleasing. You know,
well, that's it. I wanted like this column was white before. Yeah, it was just like, you know, but if you look at the earlier stuff in the festival, you can see how bad my setup was. And then
oh, is that when you was a little bit more closer to the camera?
Yeah, there's that.
You had to spray. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just shooting like angled to this wall here. So now I've got the camera nice and central.
What is that a poster on the
this
right
one?
Side? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the third man. That's Orson Welles. So this is from 1999 when I used to work as an usher in a cinema, and in '99 that was the 50th anniversary. So that's the original anniversary poster.
Okay.
And then there's a Liverpool FC it's actually from Anfield picture here, that little corner. That's off one of the boardroom walls, that picture.
I was gonna say, see, my room is interesting. I've got
the thing is though, this is like I bet the age gap between you and I is probably about 16 years, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's all context. I think you're 23, is that right?
Yeah, I'm 23.
See, it sounds like I know everything about you, but it's just Film Freeway.
Add your bio, and I'm like,
yeah. Plus, you know, with lockdown, I had to work at home, so a lot of this room, because we purchased this house about 3 years ago, and I needed my space to work in. Oh, cheers, yeah. But yeah, I needed to kind of get my zone, and because I do a lot of kind of video editing as well, that's how I started about almost 20 years ago. At college, I wanted a darker space, be able to put some stuff up, you know, and thank.
See, I'm a massive poster fan. You see, I don't have any now, but I've brought like a vintage, you know, Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I went to see it. Yeah.
I've got one of those ones. It's like in a black frame. The old Jurassic Park. It's like something that you just wake up and you think that's actually.
Yeah.
Poster
I wish I could show you. Actually, I'm gonna ruin my shot now just to show you this. Right. I'm gonna regret reframing this, but check this out. You'll love this. So UK film posters like this one are called quad posters. So when most cinemas now have like a digital screen, so posters are kind of disappearing, sadly. Well, this is a 30 by 40 inches poster. That's a UK standard, and the American like vertical is called a one sheet. But I've got this one here. Okay.
I can see.
Can you see that? 28 days later. So I met Danny Boyle when he did the post-production of Sunshine, and I got my friends to send me my poster down to London.
Yes.
When I was working on that feature film. Oh yeah, it's not bad. It's almost the same shot. But yeah, I got him to send that to me, and he signed it for me whilst he was stressing out about his special effects.
So he was kind of more stressing. That does sound like something.
If you love film posters, check this out then. I love how this interview has gone completely like geeky. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, check this out. This is a re-release poster again, and there's a torn corner, sadly. But I don't put this up because it's got the word rape on the poster.
It should be in a frame.
This shouldn't be on the floor.
All right.
So let's see if you recognize it.
Oh, I think I know what it is. I knew straight away what that was. Yeah, brilliant.
The only reason I didn't put it up because my future father-in-law, he's a really nice guy, but it's got the word rape on the poster, and I'm not a big fan of that. So, but yeah. So when you work as an usher in a cinema, the competition to get posters was like warfare, you know.
Yeah, I've never worked in a cinema. Right.
It's the best part-time job you can get. I promise you that.
I'm stretching deep for some sort of a cinema host.
Yeah. I always wanted, if I had millions, you should do it. Befriend someone that works at a cinema. That's the key. But I always wanted to open a single screen cinema. Like there's probably in Birmingham as well. There's probably sorry, what was that?
If you use the festival and stuff, just one of your old cinemas you used to work at, and just or can I have my festival shown here?
I know. I actually spoke to someone last year about that, and
really,
because there wasn't any. But the thing is, there wasn't any cinemas open even last year when we did the first version of this festival.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a crapper, really. But there's a cinema in London called Screen on the Green. You would absolutely love it. Single screen cinema. It's got like couch 2 seats, kind of like this, but for 2 people. Footrests. There's a bar at the back of the cinema. When the film starts,
I'm just happy just for hearing that.
When the film starts, all the lights in the bar dim. It's so genius. But then he still served drinks straight to your seat, pints, all sorts. Amazing.
Imagine if one tripped up and all the drinks go. That's just a film in itself, just for watching that.
But they do oven baked pizzas, and they bring them to your table as well. Amazing. Because pizzas are normally banned in cinemas because it's hot food. There's some hot food bullshit rule about pizzas in cinema and hot food.
I was going to say, there's a cinema in Birmingham. I don't know if you've got it in Chester. It's called Everyman Cinema, and
that's it. Everyman own Screen on the Green. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you was on about a different cinema.
No. So Screen on the Green is the name of the single screen cinema in London that I love, but it's an Everyman Cinema.
Yeah, brilliant. I was going to say we have pizza and we have beer gets sent to us. We have some sort of snacks.
Awesome.
If
I'm ever in Birmingham again, I'll definitely be going there. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's a really nice place. Seeing, I don't know if you've been to Birmingham.
A couple of times, for work and that.
The Cube.
Yeah.
Yeah, just there, just literally opposite the Cube.
Oh, that's awesome.
And also, it overlooks the canal.
That sounds good. But yeah, I love different ways to view film, and I try and see films on the best screen I can. So it's the same thing with the Isolation Film Festival. I've got an OLED TV with the surround sound and all of that in the other room. And I'll watch everything on that because it's like, right, this is the best it can be at home. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, one film made me cry, basically, when I saw it. I showed it to my missus, and I said, you got to check this out. It's a short film. It's a narrative, and it's about, I won't say which one it is, but you'll see it and you'll know the one I mean. It's about this someone that's got dementia. That's all I'll say, and it's fucking riveting. It's really riveting. It's not a documentary. It's a narrative, and it's Yeah,
Was it
really.
filmed last year or filmed just at the start of this year?
Kind of.
Do you
I
know?
think it was in the middle of last year when it was filmed.
Oh,
But it's really really harrowing,
oh,
but
right.
brilliant. Well, I was watching it in the other room. And my
Yeah.
missus came in, and she was like, "What's wrong with you? Haven't you just been to work?" I said, "Yeah, just watch this new film we received." But,
I bet she thought you were crying after just coming home from work.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I hate work. Yeah, but it's yeah, but yeah, it's like I loved the shorter of the two films. I love both of them, but there was one
Through the
experimental film called Exit Through the Window,
yeah.
and that's the one from East India, and
One with
I
the guy who goes up the ladder.
yeah, that's the one. Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
good memory.
yeah.
But yeah, he shot
Cameras
that. Yeah, he shot that because his dad was just got through COVID, and it was like his escapism was observing people out the window, and I love the idea of that as an experimental film. You know, just observation, and in his mind, what he found over the course of months when he shot it was he was creating a narrative of what people were doing, that kind of thing. You know, when you
yeah.
see someone at a bus stop and having an argument, and you kind of almost earwig in, like I do, and you,
You've got the earphones in and they're literally off.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
There's
exactly, yeah. But you kind
music.
of you create a story in your mind, don't you? You know, so he was doing that over a course of months, and it's a really interesting idea. And we interviewed him a few days ago because I've done 5 interviews this week,
Oh,
and
okay.
when his is going to come out on Sunday, yeah, and then yours will come out sometime in the middle of next week or the end of probably Friday next week. Next week, I think. But yeah, it's really interesting to see where the kind of inspiration comes from for a lot of filmmakers.
I was gonna say, I don't know if you've heard this. This is one of my inspirations. It's by Norman McLaren. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's an animator and director. I believe he's
No,
Scottish.
okay,
Yeah, just look it up. Oh, I'll send you the link.
yeah, please do,
It's
yeah.
called The Gondor Care. It's a experimental, abstract film where he used scratch on film. So he used rhythm and movement. He used camera movements, and it was all through animation. And
That
it's ever
sounds
so
amazing.
interesting. I'd say it's definitely pointed down to experimental film, and also that's where I kind of got my inspiration for this video. Mainly his colours, his use of colours interested me.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of like reds, whites, blues, and also the shapes. He used like circles, he used triangles, all in matching with the rhythm of the song, really.
That sounds really.
Everything.
Please send me a link to that. That'd be great.
Definitely. Yeah.
But yeah, it's been really fascinating receiving so many experimental films. I didn't expect that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We wanted it. I've always, you know, if I can do the work and I enjoy the process, I didn't ever want to charge to enter because I know a lot of film freeway festivals, they charge you just to enter and you don't
Yeah.
even see what happens with your film, you know. So that's why I do these interviews because I want to kind of engage and see where people are. And you're not how I pictured you. That's not a bad thing, you know what I mean? So it's the
Oh
first
dear.
time the first time I saw a bit of you was your photo, which was cool, the with the camera. Was that
Yeah.
the camera the viewfinder you used for the film? Was it part of that camera? Was it a
That's the
separate one?
profile picture.
Yeah.
No. One of my photographers shot that for me in the studio with colour gels. So it was just shot by a DSLR.
Okay.
Camera.
That
Yeah,
sounds great.
Canon DSLR. I mentioned Canon.
I used to be the cult of Canon, as they used to call it. And then I was converted to Sony, and
Yeah.
then I had a baptism of black magic. That sounds creepy, but that's what I use. That's what I used for my webcam. I use my black magic camera, but it's actually
Yes.
my film camera as well. So
Which Black
um,
Magic is it now?
this is a Pocket 4K. It's got a small rig matte box and a copy of a Black Pro Mist filter.
I've recorded on the Black Magic Pockets.
Yeah.
I'm a massive fan of them.
Yeah,
definitely.
the worst thing about them is if a new one comes out, you want to order one, you have to wait months for it because I love Blackmagic if you're listening, but it's the shipping times are shocking. They were shocking. And now with COVID and restrictions and all of that, shipping times for anything electronic is a disaster, really.
Do you order off the Blackmagic websites or general, just normal?
No, I use the Pro AV. So just like a normal
Yes, I
online,
know.
yeah, because the smaller companies, even like Amazon, get them after they
Yeah.
because the stock is so
Oh,
scarce when they ship
oh.
them. Really awful. I had to wait months. When mine arrived on the 23rd of December, like 2 years ago, the corner of the screen was cracked. Can you imagine how pissed off I was? 23rd of December. I
And you
was,
spent like over £1,000 on this camera.
yeah, it
I
was,
heard-
yeah, about just £1,100, something like that. And I was livid. I contacted Pro AV and I said, the camera's scratched and all that. And like, oh, it was almost like they didn't believe me. I'm like, I've
Is
just,
it was the lens scratched or
no,
the
the big
actual?
viewfinder on the back, it was like, you know, when you drop your phone, you got those digital lines and the color, the LED screen goes. So I was so angry. But then I got a replacement that got sent directly from Blackmagic.
Yeah,
And apparently there's some sort of better longevity, which is
yeah.
might be an urban legend, but yeah, that's what happened in the end. So what kind of cinema do you like outside of experimental?
So, mm, I'm gonna be like the cliche here. I'm gonna say one of my favourites is Wes Anderson films.
Okay.
I think mainly because his use of cinematography and the
Yes.
asymmetrical,
Yeah.
and one of my other favourites has to be oh gosh, I remember I can pick Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
Definitely Quentin Tarantino. I think it was the use of script, the characters, the ways it's shot.
Yeah. Especially Hateful Eight.
It's astonishing, honestly,
Yeah.
absolutely amazing.
I
So yeah,
wasn't the
I mean,
biggest fan of his newest one, but that ending. Have you seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
yes,
That ending when Brad Pitt is off. I don't want to be rude, but when he's really off his head, that's the polite way to say it, off his head on drugs, and all that craziness happens. It made me love the film. Like I was like, when's this really going to get started? In many ways,
yeah.
I don't need action sequence. I don't need guns going off left, right, and center. But something didn't gel with me the whole film. But then it makes complete sense at the end
I love the concept
because
of it.
he changes history in the film because what happens at the end isn't what happened in the real case. You know, the whole thing with Sharon Tate and all that.
Yeah.
Did you know about the Sharon Tate? What happened
No, it was
originally?
more than what I just watched from the film. Really, I
Do you know
never.
what happened actually happened?
No, but you can
Right, Rowan Polanski, who's an Oscar-winning film director, married Sharon Tate. Sharon Tate's played by Margot Robbie, and this hasn't got anything to do with it, but Rowan Polanski, if you Google him, he's a very despicable human being, but he's an exceptional filmmaker because he did something in the 70s. He left the US so he wouldn't go to prison. And he's been
tell.
out, he hasn't returned to the US for like 40 years because he had sex with a 13-year-old girl in Jack Nicholson's house, which is crazy. But he was married to Sharon Tate. And some of why he's a little bit crazy is based on what happened that night to Charlie Manson's followers.
No.
She's pregnant, right?
Yep.
She was really pregnant. She got absolutely brutalized, murdered with everyone else in the house.
Yep.
And you don't see that in the film. That's why it's so crazy, the end of the film. So she was slaughtered like the rest of them, which you don't see in the film, which is completely mental. And that's why he's like twisted history. Like if you watch, what is it? Inglorious Bastards. Hitler
I
gets
watched
murdered in it.
that one.
You've
I
not seen
know.
that? That's you've got to do me. You got to do me a solid. You've got to watch it.
That's on the list. That's definitely
Brad Pitt's hilarious in it. He's really funny.
on.
You've got to watch that. You're really missing out there. You're really missing
Yeah.
out. But yeah, they change history in that as well. But it's very, very funny. It's really kind of super dark. But yeah, I love Tarantino. First time I saw Pulp Fiction, I was like,
Yeah,
this guy's a master filmmaker, you know.
definitely. That was one of my top favorites. I've got a T-shirt of it, but yeah,
Oh, that's
you
awesome.
know.
That's the poster I want is Uma Thurman, you know, when she's the smoking and all that on the poster.
Oh gosh, yes. I like the dance scene in the American Diner. I know
Yeah.
that's one of the kind of like the popular scenes,
Yeah,
but
it's the best, isn't it? Yeah. I love the
everybody
scene.
does it though, don't they? Like it's been shown in Strictly Come Dancing.
I do it. But
Yeah.
no one sees it. No public, no one in the public ever sees me doing that dance, but I do it sometimes. My favorite scene is when, you know, Uma Thurman thinks she's snorting cocaine, but she's actually
Yeah.
snorting heroin, I think it is. And the close up of her when she ODs and the camera stays close to her. And it's
Yeah.
brilliant filmmaking, brilliant cinematography. And it's the whole scene about her recovering and him getting the jab and stabbing her in the chest and all that, and going to the drug dealer's house.
I was
Like,
stressed about that scene.
go get me the EpiPen or whatever it was. And like Eric Stoltz, who plays the drug dealer, and then his strung out girlfriend, he's telling what to do to go and get the injector. Oh, it's such a brilliant sequence of events because it ramps up, doesn't it? They're having a cool evening. Travolta can't sleep with her because she's Marcellus Wallace's wife and all of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing film that. Yeah.
Yeah, and also the male rape scene, isn't it, at the end? Towards the
It's
end.
so grim. It's so grim.
Oh
But the
my
revenge.
God. I didn't want to mention it, but I did, and it's
It,
shocking.
I think
Shocking.
do you think you mentioned it because of like it's the purest form of revenge? Like, yeah, you're fully justified to kill him. In my
It's what
book,
I remembered from watching that film. It was the only thing I remembered: the dance scene and the the murder.
that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
A nice scene of the dance, and then the male rape. Oh.
I think you know what
Really comes in with the bat or something.
Samurai sword.
Yeah, it was one of them, and
you know that's going to get clipped now. That's going to be your little clip for. It's not.
You could just use a GIF or something.
Yeah. But it is memorable because it's so dark, and you're rooting for Bruce Willis when he thinks go back, help him,
Yeah.
and he sees a samurai. Oh, he picks up the bat in Zed's store. I think it's Zed.
Would you have walked away, considering he was nasty? Considering he was a. Would you have walked
No,
away? Would you have saved him?
I think I would have. I think I would have done exactly the same thing, because
You would have.
seeing like if I ever saw that happening to another person, even your worst enemy, like that is the worst act.
Worst thing. No, it's what
murder. Yeah, I'd say murder and rape are on the same level. Do you know what I mean? Because you're destroying someone's being. Once that happens, and I pray to God it happens, but it's so evil. You destroy someone's life.
Also, like people say, "Oh, death row and stuff like deserving death row."
Yeah.
Shocking,
But yeah, I would go back, and I love how Bruce Willis he picks up two different things. He picks up the bat, like you said, but then he sees the samurai sword.
Which one to use?
Yeah. Oh, I love that scene.
Take all of them.
Yeah. I would. No. Yeah. The thing is though, when you try and survive or do something like that, yeah, you turn primal. You turn to an animal. You know what I mean? A previous version of a human. You turn like. You do anything to survive. Like my dog's you can hear I don't know if you can hear my dog, but she's wants to get out of the crate so badly now because she knows I'm talking to someone.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully she's not pooed and peed herself, So
invite her onto the podcast.
Yeah. Let me grab her. I'll just grab her now, see if she's all right. Won't be a sec. I used to be able to carry her much easier than this. Yeah, she's going to go crazy as soon as I put the headphones on.
I think you'd like
You can hear her sniffing. Sorry about this.
See, this is what I mean. You got to invite your dog onto a podcast. It's just the thing. You have to. It's a dog friendly environment.
Yeah,
Dog-friendly environment.
And it's safe in here. Yeah. So this is Frida. This is Sam. Can you
Hi,
see
Frida.
Sam?
And
She's great. But yeah, thank you so much for submitting your films, and I really enjoy both of them. And I can't. What I always say to every filmmaker that's been on the podcast so far, sorry about that, is I can't wait for you to see all the other films, because it's like the variety is crazy. Like, we received an animation from Japan about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And it's all CG. It took 2 years to finish. And my curiosity is how did that kind of come about? How did you finish it? Considering it's all lockdown and that.
Oh my. Probably were they working from home with their?
Yeah, it must have been like, if it's all like CG based, they probably did Teams meetings and everything,
Yeah, definitely. Was
it
wasn't just one person that was,
No, there's only like 8 people, but when you see the film, it's like 12 minutes long. Oh no, 11 minutes long. It's like, oh my God, there's so much in this.
Yeah.
But when you see that, I think it's called Adonia or something like that. I'm probably butchering the name now, but yeah, you'll get to see that mixed in. And the most difficult thing I have to do obviously, apart from picking some of the awards, because obviously our judges are doing the kind of big ones, is putting the order of the films together. So putting experimental next to something that's like exploitation or something like that, it's really tricky to get a balance.
Yeah.
So I need to think about that quite a lot. One thing I wanted to ask you is how have you been? How have you found lockdown? Were you still a student when lockdown started, or?
Yes, I was just heading into my 3rd year when lockdown happened. So I was doing my dissertation and my individual extended project, which was my FMP, where I chose to do experimental film. And I think overall, lockdown, I think it was more, I involved more creativity in this lockdown than ever before. I recorded more stuff. I went out and just filmed. I used my back garden. I used the resources from my house, and from there I just recorded an unusual experimental art piece. Really, it was something that I wanted to be abstract with. I'm also a photographer as well. My hobbies are photography, so I kind of use that element in with my abstract film, really. And
so you're on what's your for people listening, what's your Instagram handle?
My Instagram is Sam15 XOXO. Don't say why you XOXO. Yeah.
It's like when you have your first email account, it's usually something really embarrassing. Like mine was Godfather4 at Yahoo or something like that, freeserve.com, which doesn't exist.
Oh.
And Godfather4, because I loved Godfather at that point.
Yeah.
And
yes.
So yeah,
that's a fantastic piece of the film. Why didn't I should have answered that. I should have said that as mine, because that was my favorite films by far.
What are you kind of this is a difficult question. What's the top 3?
Top 3?
Yeah.
3?
Yeah.
That's so my first one's going to be the obvious Pulp Fiction. My second one, can I use TV shows in this?
I'll let you off with that one. Yeah.
You let me off. My second one's going to be Stranger Things.
Yeah. When's the next season? That's doing my head in.
Yeah.
You've seen that new teaser?
I haven't seen the teaser, no, but
there's no date on it.
I don't really like to watch them, because I'd rather know when I've actually started watching the series, because it spoils it, really.
Yeah.
The only thing I watched was when it was season 2, when the Halloween special one.
When they used Ghostbusters. Yeah.
Yes, that's the only teaser I watched.
I bought David, Hopper, the copper. I bought that. I bought the watermelon shirt that he has in the 3rd season. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I've got light jeans, white trainers, and I've got the sandy jacket as well, and the I think it's a Casio watch he's wearing.
Isn't sheriff. Is he a sheriff? He is a sheriff, isn't he?
Yeah.
You need like a badge and everything now, don't you?
No, I was just going for the restaurant look, like the costume from the restaurant.
Yeah, but then you have to do the other side, you know, go for the sheriff look.
Yeah. I don't want to wear like a tight 80s outfit. You know what I mean?
What's that scene when he comes into? She's like, "Oh, you've got Will's mother in the office," and he's like, "It's tea and cup." Was it something to do with tea or coffee or something along them lines?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's that quote. Oh,
it's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember it now. It's like,
is it the one about the percentages?
Yeah.
Is
no, he's about when he walks in and he's like, "Oh no, it's coffee. Don't speak to me. It's too early in the morning."
Oh, it's the first scene where we see him in the police station. Yeah. And he's talking to the woman about donuts or something as well. And it's a tracking shot. Yeah.
Like when we were coffee and he's got a donut in one hand and he's just walking up into the office and he's like, "It's tea. Don't speak to me. It's too early. I just need my coffee," or something along them.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
And like, "Oh, she's already in your office," kind of thing. Yeah. And what's your third one?
My third one is going to be. Can you hear that silence?
It's kind of very top three or favorites is very fluid, isn't it? Because it goes from this, goes from that. It goes from The Exorcist to Hellraiser for me, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. So it's a really difficult question.
It really is. 3 films are my top favourites. Oh gosh. I think the third one is going to have to be another Quentin Tarantino film. The one where it's the Reservoir Dogs. Dogs. That was like definitely my favourite as well. Only because I preferred the script throughout that.
Yeah.
It was more the script for me.
That would make a great play, wouldn't it? It'd be a great play. Yeah.
Imagine that as an experimental film.
Oh, it'd be absolutely sick, that, wouldn't it? Yeah, it'd be amazing.
Don't.
I'm so sorry I'm distracted by this dog. She's like, I think she's jealous and talking to someone else. That's what it is. Isn't it, Frida?
How old is she now?
20 weeks. 20 weeks. Yeah, look at those ears. You see how one of the ears is bent over?
Yeah, most dogs have that, don't they?
Yeah. But my missus is like, "Oh, we need the other one to bend over now." I'm like, "Nah, you can't do that. You can't, change how she is."
No.
Yeah, she's right. Well, I'm so sorry for the distraction, Sam. But thank you so much for coming on the podcast. This has been great.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you very much.
And yeah, I can't wait to showcase all of the other films, the other experimental films, because I know that's kind of your cup of tea as well. So are you kind of continuing to make short films in your spare time?
I've got one in mind. I've got a documentary that I'm looking at recording. So hopefully that can just.
Can you tell me what it's about?
Yeah. Do you want to have a little thought? Do you want a little gossip of it?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I recorded a documentary around the allotments and the demolition of Walsall Road allotments to build for the Commonwealth Games. From there, I resourced a lady called Teresina Roberts, and she builds her business from these allotments to make clothes from tie-dyes, and all these resources came from the allotments. So if those allotments had gone, the whole of the business could have went with it as well. So it was something that was really precious to her. So I'm recording a separate documentary just to record for her. Kind of like amazing. Her business and her enterprise and what she kind of values from her business. So hopefully that can go into the bag, really.
That sounds great. And what was the original intent? Was it just about the allotments, and did it just to kind of expand, kind of thing?
Yeah, the first documentary I recorded was around the demolition. I recorded that in 2018, so I'm happy to send you a link.
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
And the second film I did record, which was her business and her enterprise, and She runs her business in Digbeth. You know Digbeth, Birmingham?
No.
So it's like, it's in the custard factory. It's let's say it's kind of like based around art and culture, and
Okay.
small businesses and big businesses build from Digbeth, and they from there record. Well, let's say it's kind of like a photography art based centre where people can just have their own business, and she has her own business there now, and she's just doing her tie dyes, selling the produce, making shirts. She makes postcards. She makes wood making figures.
Yeah.
And then she sells them off for like research. She sells them off to universities. She sells them off to, you know, anybody really.
That sounds
And
really interesting. That, yeah.
it really is, yeah.
And what was the Sorry, go ahead.
We recorded that in 2019, but I'm hoping to look at making another one, but in an experimental form. So it's going to be an experimental form documentary.
Oh, that sounds great.
It's tie dyes, you know. I want to experiment with that.
I would look at using like kaleidoscope filters, because with tie dye and the way the colors separate, that sounds really fascinating. Yeah.
Yes, I'm hoping to record that. I did say to her, you know, because we did make the documentary, but I think this one's going to take a different form. This is going to be more the experimental art form of it, really, because don't forget her business is around experimenting with tie dyes and making wool and making produce from her land in the allotments to build for her kind of business. It's her livelihood, it's her community, it's her way she lives, and she came from Brazil, so this was something I really wanted to explore.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you gonna kind of are you gonna interview her as well as part of it, or?
Yes, because obviously it's an experimental documentary. I'm going to have parts of interviews, but a lot of it's going to be recording the, you know, how she makes it. So it kind of like kind of the mixture of tie dyes to her making her wool to her spinning. She uses a spinning wheel, that's really interesting. And also the imagery you can capture as well from that is just like, you can do anything really. I'm also looking at doing kind of like shots of you know this, what's it, the 4.3 aspect ratio.
Oh yeah, our first submission was 4:3.
Yeah, I want to record through that. I want to do an aspect ratio for that.
Well, have a look at some of the best TV shows are in 4:3, and
it's a traditional way of film, and
it's great for Instagram as well. Pretty close to being a square, you know. So yeah, I think I'm hoping to record that. That sounds really fascinating, because
I'll send you both the links. I did originally record it, but this one's going to be different because I want to take a more experimental form.
Yeah.
Whereas this one was more kind of like a documentary based on her life, and we called it Me, My Life, and Teresina Roberts. And that was kind of the way we chose to kind of look at her business and look at how she kind of promotes and kind of sells her produce and clothes.
That sounds really interesting. Have you kind of gone through with her about the experimental nature of the doco?
Yeah, I've sent her a few slides, kind of like, let's say, I sent her kind of like my visual aesthetic look to it, because I'm more of a visual person. Personally, I'm more kind of like, look at it as in, I need the shot to be this frame. I need the to be this particular parts of the shot. And I think a lot of it's just come from my inspiration through looking at YouTube videos and other people creating a 4.3 documentary. But yeah, like so far it's just something different from the original one, but I'm really happy to send it over to you on a link.
Yeah, please do. And if you did, was it a sports documentary you did a while back?
No, sports promotional videos to raise money for prostate cancer. That was
we'd love to. Is that on YouTube or is that like a Google download or something?
It was on Vimeo.
Okay, is it a private link? Because we'd be really happy to kind of link people to that for the charity as well.
Yeah, because obviously it was done 2 years ago. I don't know if he's closed off the submissions for the money, but I can double check for you. But I believe it's something.
If it has closed, we can always link it to the wider charity.
Yeah, definitely. I'm happy to send it over. More the merrier, really. I think it was a lot of it around him traveling from country to country. We were making a 60-second cut for Instagram and a 3 to 4 minute video for Vimeo. So anything to kind of promote and raise awareness for the charity and what he was doing for the cause, because it was a lot of time and effort. And
absolutely, I can only believe that.
196 countries. Was it? Yeah, it was called Running the World 196. So this was to take on kind of like, because one of his friends had prostate cancer and he chose to do this as part of that.
Yeah, well,
and part of this journey.
We're supporting. We don't support any charities directly, but I've got a couple of filmmaking friends and actor friends that we're supporting their kind of mental health charity work. So we're just, we're really happy to kind of promote anything like that, because all these charities have been devastated this year. Like you can't raise money, like poppy appeals, that kind of thing. Nothing's worked. So we're really happy to kind of even if it's like an Instagram post or a couple of posts on stories, we're really happy to do it. It's simple for us to do, and it creates awareness, and that's what our community is about. It's about your dog interrupting your podcast recording. It's about everything, you know what I mean? So sorry about that.
Frida hasn't done anything wrong. I've been triggering, but he'd cry.
Yeah.
He'd be crying throughout this podcast.
But yeah, she was crying out there, and like, so yeah, I think it's time to give her a dinner, I think. So Sam, you're a star. I really enjoyed talking to you, and I hope to keep in touch as well. And we'll let you know. Instagrams are where I post most of the news. We post things up to YouTube as well, and our John Clement interview has just gone up. It should just be available now at 6 o'clock. So yeah, thank you very much. And if you, I don't know if you follow us on Instagram, but if you do that, we'll send you the little posters we make for all the interviews, so you can use those as you want as well.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's Sam15XOXO. So I know.
Did you make the account when you were 15?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did the same thing with so many of my accounts.
I remember. I was God knows how many years now. I'm 23, so I'm probably I don't even know 15. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Sam. You're an absolute pleasure to speak with, and I'm sorry about the disappearances and all of that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
All for this little one,
Hello. She's not having it.
I know. Yeah, she's dying to go, running out. And as soon as because my future father-in-law had a heart attack on Monday, and I think he's in hospital at the moment. I think she's really missing him because he's here every day working on the house. So yeah, she's been a bit odd since Monday.
That's probably why she was trying to get out of the house. When you said
trying to find him. Yeah, exactly. So thanks, Sam. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'm gonna order from a company called Death by Tacos in a minute for some dinner. So yeah.
You're not going out for drinks tonight.
No. I'm still a cave dweller, so I'll just have a few drinks at home and watch a couple of bad horror films or something. Yeah. Friday
night, spend it watching horror films and drinking
beer.
Yeah.
Sounds great. And then I'll stick RuPaul Australia on at some point with Mrs.
Yeah. I still haven't watched the UK version.
UK one's great. No, Australian one is a bit odd. it's more like season 5 of RuPaul in terms of the budget and all of that. So it's different.
Yeah,
And
can't wait to watch.
But yeah, you should enjoy it. Yeah.
Filmed in Birmingham. They have actually filmed in Birmingham. They've got RuPaul drag races. Somebody actually dressed up as the bull, apparently, from what I heard. So
really?
I thought that was something like that.
Well, okay. we want Brummy representation on the next season of RuPaul. That'll be wicked.
Yes.
Because they've had plenty of Scousers and people from London and other parts. So I'm not sure if they've had anyone from Birmingham or the Black Country.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm pretty sure from what I've been told that somebody did actually dress up as the bull, and I think she does come from Birmingham.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I was like, what? I was like, tell me.
Well, thank you very much, Sam. This has been great fun, and enjoy your weekend as well.
Thank you. Have a good day.
And I'll keep you up to date. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's all merged into one now. It's been a long week. But yeah, thanks very much, Sam. Enjoy your evening and stay safe. I had COVID in December, and it was the worst thing I ever went through. So yes,
December.
Yeah, I was supposed to get married on the 12th of December, and I got the results on the when I was putting my wedding suit on, and then I almost died in hospital. So yeah.
Oh no! Well,
it's one of the reasons we got a dog as well, to kind of make us feel better as well. So.
Oh no! Are you kind of doing the wedding like
29th of this month? Yeah.
Oh, brilliant! So you're doing it Whitsun week?
Yeah.
Whitsun week. That'd be amazing. So, were you having it in Chester?
In sunny Runcorn, but it's a registry office. They're super small. Sorry, I'm showing you Frida's arse. But yeah, that's going to be the name of the episode, Frida's bottom. So yeah, and then we're having a little reception here. We're going to put nice night lights out and make it really nice and have barbecue. And there's a cake shop in Chester called Sweet Elements that's amazing, and they're making us a cake.
A promo for that.
Yeah, no, we talked about it as well, because I talk them up online all the time because they're amazing.
Adding that.
Because I went to, just on a last little tangent, I looked at wedding cakes online, especially locally, and I had recommendations because I know a lot of Chester-based companies, and they said, yeah, try this business, try that. Wedding cakes go up to about £1,100.
Are you having a free tier?
Yeah. No, we're just having a single, but £1,000 for a wedding cake.
Yeah.
That's crazy. The thing is, as soon as you mention wedding cake, that's when the price goes bleh, because they know you've got money to spend. So with this company in Chester, I was really clear with them, like, yeah, we can do something for you. And it was going to be
having a cake. I'm just having a cake.
Yeah, but their cakes, I'll send you a link to Sweet Elements. You might not ever go there, but I'll send you a link to it. But the cakes are stunning. The pictures are world class. So it's a little plug for them. I'm not sponsored by them, but they're amazing.
I've been to Liverpool. I love Liverpool.
Liverpool's great.
Definitely. I wish I could live down there.
It's crazy. Liverpool's one of the best nights out you could ever have. Manchester's. Yeah. I'll tell you a funny story before we go. I was on a night out, and it was a lads thing. We went to a couple of strip places, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
This was like 2001. Yeah, and everyone was plastered. And my friend Paul, who's a poster designer artist, exceptional talent. We're on the right laugh. He trips over someone, he trips over someone's foot, and he falls over, goes flying.
Yeah.
And he stands up, apologizes to this guy, and it's John Lennon's statue. Yeah.
You were gonna say
you've seen that honestly, he fell over John Lennon's statue. But yeah, he ended up apologizing. It was so funny.
That's something to put on the Tinder account, isn't it?
Yeah. John Lennon tripped me over, like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, have a great one. Have a great one, Sam, and thank you so much for coming on the podcast as well.
It's been brilliant. Thank you very much.
All right, have a good one. Yeah. See you later. See you later.
Yeah.